Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Counterpoint Conversation. I am your host, Mohit Agrawal, and today we'll be speaking with the recently appointed CEO of LoRa Alliance, Alper Yegin. LoRa Alliance is on the brink of an exciting expansion, focusing on key industries like smart metering and massive IoT deployments. With this growth, LoRaWAN is entering a hyper-growth phase, and today we'll be diving into the Alliance's growth plans and what lies ahead, especially with the integration of NTN satellite technology. Whether you are an industry insider or just curious about the ways LoRaWAN is shaping the future of IoT, this is an episode you won't want to miss. Welcome, Alper, and congratulations on stepping into the CEO role at LoRa Alliance. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Mohit. Thank you very much. Thanks for welcoming me. And yes, I'm doing well, pretty busy, exciting times ahead, and happy to be here.
Thanks. But before we start, it will be good to get a brief introduction about yourself and maybe talk a little bit more about LoRa Alliance.
Sure. Yeah, very briefly, yes, I'm the newly appointed CEO of LoRa Alliance. LoRa Alliance is an international open non-profit association formed to build and promote adoption of the LoRaWAN technology. And LoRaWAN technology is a low-power, long-range, and low-power wireless communication technology that serves the Internet of Things applications. Prior to taking up this new role, I've already been in the LoRa Alliance since 2016. I have been chairing the technical committee while also working as the CTO of Actility, a founding member and a permanent board member of the LoRa Alliance.
Right. And what are your key missions and goals that you have at LoRa Alliance? And how have these mission and the goals of LoRa Alliance evolved over the recent times?
Yeah, our mission from the very beginning has been to build a foundational wireless communication technology to enable the massive IoT use cases. As you know, massive IoT is defined by the IoT applications that require to send few number of data packets during the day, but there's a massive amount of them in terms of the devices. And as such, it requires a highly reliable, highly scalable, and very low cost and highly accessible communication technology. That's what we have set our requirements for at the very beginning, back in 2015. Ever since then, we have been building a technology to cater to this market. And actually, our mission hasn't really changed. It's a really big task at hand. IoT has been talked about for the past 30, 40 years. And a lot of the use cases people have been talking about fall squarely under the so-called massive IoT. And now we have key enabler of opening up the market to exponentially accelerate the massive IoT market space.
Got it. And when we look around, there's a lot of confusion on the difference between LoRa and LoRaWAN. Can you help differentiate that for our audience?
Sure. LoRa is the modulation technology that's used by LoRaWAN. So it's basically how digital data gets modulated to be transmitted as radio waves between two endpoints. It's just a radio link. Also in the network architecture, it's the so-called link, the layer 1 or the physical layer. LoRaWAN is the networking technology that provides end-to-end communication in terms of framing, security, reliability, etc., that we have built to provide an end-to-end architecture that spans the end device, the base station, the network server, joint server, the full architecture and a full open ecosystem. LoRaWAN uses the LoRa technology, but it's a whole lot more beyond that. And in LoRa Alliance, what we do is to define the LoRaWAN protocol and protocols and the full end-to-end architecture using LoRa modulation and also other modulation techniques.
Right. So LoRaWAN is there, but then there are other low-powered IoT connectivity options that are there. So how is LoRaWAN different from the other IoT connectivity options available in the market?
Right. So the defining features of LoRaWAN are as follows. One is the long range. So we have a highly sensitive radio technology that provides us long range when there are few or less or no obstacles in front, and that provides a way to penetrate through obstacles like walls and uh, other structures when it's constrained within say a building, right? So in terms of the range, when it finds true line of sight, we reach the range of 600 kilometers. That's how you see LoRa Alliance members placing LoRaWAN base stations on the low Earth orbiting satellites to pick the data from the sensors right on the ground. And as more obstacles come in the way, like say you go all the way to a dense urban setting like downtown Manhattan, the range goes down to a few kilometers. And then you can even run LoRaWAN indoor with the so-called picosecond gateways to have coverage for 2 floors up, 2 floors down in a typical American building. So that's the range element. Secondly, the low power. It consumes as little power as a garage door opener, practically consuming 25 milliwatt in transmission mode. That gives a better lifetime of 5 to 10 years for a typical sensor. The third element is the use of unlicensed band. Much like Wi-Fi, LoRaWAN uses unlicensed band, meaning that anyone can deploy this, whether at their residences, at their buildings, or campus-wide, nationwide, and even continent-wide, without having to have a limited and super costly license from the governments. And we also have a very low-cost technology. The LoRaWAN base station costs are on their way towards the cost point of Wi-Fi technology. While any one of these features are unique, the combination is very unique, and there's no other technology that satisfies the same set of requirements. And these were the requirements that we were set on satisfying all the way back in 2015. That's what sets us apart from other technologies like Narrowband IoT, like Sigfox, like Wi-SUN, etc.
Got it. And in terms of the vertical focus, what are the verticals that you're focusing on? Because again, depending on the kind of differentiation that you have from other IoT technologies, I'm sure in terms of the vertical focus also, you would have a slightly different vertical focus.
Well, yeah, actually, in terms of the verticals, we are catering to all 7 verticals: smart buildings, smart cities, smart utilities, smart agriculture, smart home. Now, within them, there are only a very small segment that the LoRaWAN is not suitable. That's so-called the critical IoT. So massive IoT is what LoRaWAN serves, and the critical IoT is what LoRaWAN is not designed for. Critical IoT is defined as the IoT applications that require either a very large amount of data being pushed per end device, like megabytes of data or gigabytes of data, like a camera or like a connected car or a connected, say, airplane, or an application that requires real-time communication, guaranteed delivery of data within millisecond time bracket, such as remote control of a drone or remote control of a robotic surgery, robotic arm. So in those cases, the so-called critical IoT, that's what LoRaWAN doesn't address. But anything else which squarely falls under all these 7 IoT verticals, and I would say even more than 95 to 97% of the IoT use cases fall under massive IoT, they are very well addressed by LoRaWAN.
Got it. And we love hearing about numbers. So any sense on the number of connections that we have today on LoRaWAN? Anything that you can throw light on?
Sure, yeah. Well, we don't have a precise number, and this is the data that we're collecting from the market and the market analysts. So right now we have nearly 100 million LoRaWAN devices already deployed around the world. And to give a little bit more data points among our LoRa Alliance members, our member from Germany, Zener, has nearly 8 million devices connected, mostly in the metering and smart buildings area. Our member Actility has nearly 4 million devices connected, both on public networks and private networks. And I remember TTI, the Things Industry, says 2.5 million devices connected. And again, these are just numbers, and these are the numbers that build towards the 100 million we have. We have nearly 400 members in the LoRa Alliance and several more in the larger ecosystem, and every one of them are contributing to this total. And another notable data point is, again, going back to those two examples, Activity and TTI, their year-over-year device count growth is 50%. So we also have an exponential growth in our market as we continuously remove the obstacles in front of the LoRaWAN adoption, and the market receives this very well as they keep adopting this technology, solving their long-standing problems.
So, thanks, Alper. So how do you see the IoT evolving in the next few years? And obviously there are a lot of changes in IoT. There is AI that has come up in a big way, and that is also going to impact IoT. But from your perspective, how do you see IoT evolving in the next few years?
Right. So yeah, there are several technology trends, Mohit, that is unfolding over time, and AI is the latest and the greatest one. And in addition to AI, there's a space tech, green tech, biotech, and blockchain, etc. So now what all these other technology trends need is having access to the physical world, both for sensing the physical world and also controlling the physical world. That's what Internet of Things bring into the picture. Internet of Things is the link between those other technology trends and the physical world. And within that, there's again, going back to what I described earlier, the critical IoT and the massive IoT element. Massive IoT being more than 95% of the touch points, and LoRaWAN being the leading connectivity catering to massive IoT. We play a very critical role in connecting those other technology trends to the physical world. And here's where we will be feeding each other. AI will be feeding LoRaWAN. LoRaWAN will be feeding AI, and both of them will be progressing their mission hand in hand.
Got it. And one of the technologies that I'm really excited about as part of IoT is satellite connectivity, because there are a lot of remote areas, especially in some of the verticals. For example, if you look at maritime or you look at agriculture, satellite is going to play a big role. And LoRaWAN, along with the satellite, there's a good amount of integration with NTN that is going on. So can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure. So again, going back to the openness of and the low cost nature of LoRaWAN, we see a lot of innovation using LoRaWAN in the telecommunications and networking arena. So the first wave of LoRaWAN started with the public operators. Then it was followed by the enterprise private networks, then the community networks, and the fourth wave that we're going through now is the addition of the satellite connectivity. With the long range nature of LoRaWAN and the low cost nature of LoRaWAN and the low power aspect as well, now we see the satellite operators and satellite vendors building LoRaWAN products and services. We have a dedicated satellites working group under the technical committee where we are further optimizing the operation of satellite-based LoRaWAN networks. And the market already has LoRa Alliance member companies providing commercial services, like EchoStar Mobile has a pan-European coverage using their GEO satellite. And the Plan S and Lacuna are providing a LEO-based LoRaWAN connectivity. Not only we have connectivity through satellite-based networks, but we also have the ability to integrate all these networks together, the public, private, and community networks on the ground, together with the satellite networks through the roaming integration. And that's how we see already momentum in the networks, the terrestrial networks augmenting their terrestrial coverage with the help of the satellite providers for the devices that fall out of their coverage, whether they're in super remote areas like mountaintop or say in the middle of the open sea, or in foreign lands. That's how that's where they through their collaboration they are stitching together their networks. So, like I said, there's the fourth wave, and there are more waves to come. Only time will tell us, because it's all driven by the innovation, both on the technical front and also on the business front. And we are actually working on a new webinar by the LoRa Alliance, which will be airing in February by our satellite providers to provide more insights about their operations. And hopefully we can share that link when the time comes, and people can get even more insights about these new developments.
So, does LoRa Alliance have any projections for the number of connections on satellite IoT in the next 5 years or so, or it's too early to comment on it?
I would say it's too early. I mean, if we were an analyst company, we would have some projections, but we are more closely related to what's happening on the ground, and it's a very early stage to have projections. Clearly, there's a complementary side of it. And in terms of the numbers, I would say the numbers wouldn't be as high as what you see on the ground because of the density of the device on the ground. But in terms of the value, it's a significant value the industry will be getting out of connecting less devices, but in more remote areas. And I would also like to add that satellite connectivity provides value both in remote areas and also providing connectivity for the linear structures like pipelines, oil pipelines, like power lines, highways, and the borders, the national borders, where there is a need for building sensors along linear structures, and the way to provide cost-efficient connectivity in those areas, again, falls squarely under the umbrella of satellite connectivity.
Got it. And just to compare with cellular IoT, on the cellular IoT side, there is connectivity management platforms that enable the enterprises to manage their connections. Is there an equivalent of that on the LoRaWAN side?
Yeah, actually there is. So in the LoRaWAN architecture, we have something called network server. That's in a sense the brain of the network, controlling the base stations and the end devices. And we have several network server vendors in the LoRa Alliance. While the network server is equivalent to, say, a combination of P gateway, S gateway, MME in the 4G, in our market, the OSS and BSS that is needed for operating the network and also operating the business, those elements are typically also bundled with the LoRaWAN network server. So today, if you go and source a network server, it typically comes with the connectivity management bells and whistles, which form the full OSS BSS elements. Now, in the cellular, actually, there's a separation in the market. You would get the P gateway, S gateway, MMA from one vendor, and get the connectivity management platform from another. Now, in the LoRa Alliance, this is bundled because this is the way to really scale it for the technology side. B, it's also very cost effective to pre-integrate them. That's why you see them bundled by several of our members today. So what you get out of, say, Narrowband IoT LTM connectivity platform plus core network infrastructure, you're able to get them from single source within the LoRa Alliance and the LoRaWAN ecosystem.
Got it. And finally, my last question, what is your vision for LoRa Alliance and what are the initiatives that you plan to take to continue to drive the growth and adoption of LoRaWAN?
Yeah, today our most significant speed bump is awareness and education. We have a very mature technology, very capable to crack this problem space. We, again, have a mature and rich ecosystem to provide solutions for the core network, radio network, and devices, solutions, system integration, etc. And at this point, what is holding us from spreading much faster is the awareness and education. That is one area we will be focusing on in the next year and few years. And the other areas are to continue further pushing down the cost of connectivity by bringing in low-cost ways of extending the coverage. For example, in addition to the satellite connectivity, We are accelerating the relay feature and relay products to present a very low cost and fully autonomous gateways to add to the edge of the networks. And even further complementing that by walk-by, drive-by reading, which are mobile gateways to further push the envelope, reducing the cost of connectivity and the availability of connectivity. And we're also pushing forward on the plug and play feature, both on the end device side and the infrastructure side, which will further lower the barriers for reaching the massive scales. And the last front we're pushing forward is to increase our collaboration with the legacy IoT ecosystems and the application domains. A good example of that is what we have done in the past couple of years to tap into the electric and water and gas metering market based on DLMS. We have set up a liaison with the DLMS UA. And through that liaison, we have built a shim layer to adapt the legacy DLMS applications to write right above LoRaWAN by incorporating IPv6, the internet protocol in between. And that started accelerating the adoption of LoRaWAN in the DLMS market. We'd like to repeat the same for other verticals, be it in smart agriculture, smart industry, smart cities. There are several well-established IoT ecosystems, whether they are using a traditional wired technology or another wireless communication technology. Here we come with the strengths of LoRaWAN to present them opportunities to realize the things that they couldn't have done in the past, whether it's having a low-cost solution or reaching deep indoor or reaching miles after miles. So that's another growth engine for us as we enter the new year.
Thank you so much, Alper, for your insights today. As you take over LoRa Alliance and LoRaWAN moves into hypergrowth, I'm sure our viewers are excited to see what's next. And for our viewers, thanks for tuning in. For now, this is Mohit signing off. Have a good day and see you in the next one.